this is Ross Harrison from Precision Health and Fitness, and today I'm going to talk about a dumbbell tricep exercise. And this is going to be just your basic tricep press or extension, whatever you want to call it. But you'll start from a straight up position, move your arm. I like to start around 45 degrees back from there. A important thing is comfort, so if this position is uncomfortable and you need to move further forward, obviously go for it. There's a number of things with this one that can pose challenges, and especially if there's a lot of tension in the shoulder or any kind of issues, just being in that position might be a problem. An important thing when doing this is when your arm's here, you want your shoulder relaxed. So if you're here and you're really tense and you're gripping the weight really tightly, it may tense the joint to a point where it's uncomfortable, but if you relax, it might be completely fine. So this is for the tricep, and it's an exercise that is very easy to cheat with, as most of them, but this one almost more so than the vast majority of exercises. One thing I'll point out before starting is legs. I do like to have my feet up on the bench just so my knees are bent. This exercise can, if you don't have a bench, that's no big deal. It can be done on the floor, on a ball, on your bed, really anywhere that, as long as your arm can be up and away from you and you can bend your elbow, you can do this exercise. If you are doing it on the floor, there might be a little less range of motion, but there's still nothing wrong with it and you can get a lot out of it. But okay, so for now, in a starting position, it really is a simple motion. It's just bend your elbow and straighten your arm. The trick is to do it really focusing on the tricep. So if my arm comes down and I just push my hand up, there's a lot more of the arm, shoulder, even wrist, there's momentum generated, and the tricep really doesn't have to do that much. So there's a lot of different ways you can cheat, and you can hold the weight in a number of different ways. For now I'm just using a neutral grip, so the weight's pointing up and down. A lot of people, especially if you're using a bar, your hands will be in this kind of grip where your palms facing towards the ceiling. That creates more opportunities for cheating, where if moving up, your wrist curls. It's another way to generate momentum, use some extra muscles, and really take stress away from the tricep, which, if that's what we're trying to work, we don't want to do anything that removes work from the tricep. You can also do it with, you can hold one dumbbell with both hands, with your hands on the side, or you can have the dumbbell hanging down with both hands. For the sake of learning, I like to start with just a single dumbbell in one hand. The reason being, if there's a big discrepancy in arm strength, it's very easy just to use one arm a lot more than the other, and instead of improving the imbalance between the arms, it can actually reinforce a greater imbalance because the weaker one will continue doing less work. So with that all out of the way, the best thing to think about is just relax everything. You want your wrist to be neutral and just enough tension in your hand to hold the weight and keep a straight wrist. But beyond that, try to relax your arm as much as you can. And instead of thinking that you're pushing the weight up, actually feel like you're pulling through your tricep. And it might not sound like a big difference, but doing that is incredibly different from doing that. And it's not just because it's slower, it's just when you push it, well, you'll generally go faster because more muscles working it. But you can probably see the difference in my arm. Like, I can do this a lot, and I don't feel it very much. But when I'm really pulling and relaxing, like, my arm's actually just shaking just from this light weight. And, even if I'm not holding a weight and I do that, my arm will shake, because the tricep is really working. And when the tricep works a lot, it starts shaking. So it's not an issue of weight or strength that you need to work the tricep. It really is your mind focused on that muscle doing the work. And typically, one of the many problems that people get into is if they're using a weight where, especially with both hands, they're pushing with both hands on a weight that's challenging and they're using a lot of extra muscle, the amount of strain on the elbow joint is really too much. And over time, you'll start getting like pain in the joint, or it'll feel like the tendons or ligaments are pulling way too tight because the muscle's not designed for that. Generally, it takes a lot less weight to really get a good tricep workout than people think, but since most people want to use as heavy weight as possible, they end up just really working a lot of other muscles and the tricep in the process because they're working so hard with everything. But it actually becomes detrimental to the elbow over time. So in this case, if you're doing it slow and really just focusing on the tricep, you're actually going to strengthen the joint and make it harder to injure in the future. And another, I actually haven't said the biggest cheat, which is movement of the upper arm. So if I start here, really just the elbow bends and this part of the arm should stay stationary. If the arms move, if the upper arm's moving during this exercise, it makes it so much easier that it's almost not worth doing the exercise. I mean, you're still going to get some out of it, but like when you see somebody with a heavy weight, they're holding it with both hands and they're doing something like this, they're almost working lats, shoulders, and other things more than the tricep. So if your goal is to work those other things, choose an exercise that really focuses on those things. Or if you're trying to incorporate a lot of different muscles together, there's exercises that can do that. But if you're really just trying to do a tricep exercise, just single joint motion for this one through the elbow. And very simple, but actually rather hard to do with just the tricep working. And usually you'll know it when you're doing it because you can feel it getting challenging and you can feel the muscles shaking, and eventually it'll feel like it's starting to cramp. And then obviously you want to stop. But then just bring the weight down and that's it. And then obviously you want to do equal amounts on both sides, and if there's a big discrepancy with the arms, you can do more on your weaker arm. That's sort of a topic for another time. But that's the dumbbell tricep press or extension. So hope you enjoy, incorporate that into your workout. Personally, I don't do specific bicep and tricep exercises all that much. I put them in there on occasion, but those muscles work so much during other exercises that typically I generally use other exercises to train those muscles and then just add them for assistance for variety, or some people like doing them, or if the joint needs some extra work, this is a good way to do it. So there you go, and stay tuned for my next video. Bye!